A wise starfish once said, "The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma." And while we can't all have the cognitive capacity of this bottom feeding echinoderm, our brains are still pretty cool too. The brain controls everything in the body, from conscious functions like thinking, feeling, and skeletal movement to automatic functions including breathing, digestion, and regulation of your heartbeat. If something goes wrong with your brain, the whole system goes down. Today we're starting a potential new series taking all the individual components we've learned about in food and applying it a bit to how they sustain the body's major systems. And the brain felt like a pretty good first choice to venture into, seeing as it is arguably the most vital. Now, the irony is not lost on me that it was my brain that made that decision. Might be a bit biased, but fortunately I have y'all to tell me which one I should cover next. Anyway, we're going to be going through 5 of the most important nutrients for brain health and function and some foods that reliably contain them. And at the end, I'll briefly rattle off how pretty much all of them have some kind of impact in maintaining this complex and frankly miraculous organ. And now, the ingredients for a healthy brain. Number 1, choline. Originally known as vitamin B4 before we realized that it doesn't actually qualify as a vitamin, choline is an essential nutrient that I haven't gotten the chance to talk about much yet. But I will say that its primary function is directly involved with the brain. Choline is an essential part of the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, in case you couldn't get that from the name. Neurotransmitters are simply chemical messages that send signals from neurons to each other or to muscles and glands. They tell these other parts what to do through either excitatory or inhibitory transmissions, and they're kind of one of the main baselines of brain function in general. Without them working properly, your bodily systems are either not on the same page or at the very least they're delayed. There are many types of neurotransmitters, some you've likely heard of like dopamine, serotonin, and epinephrine, better known as adrenaline. But back to the focal one, acetylcholine is used to send several types of messages, 2 of the most important being the firing of voluntary skeletal muscles and pretty much everything to do with memory. The ability to encode something new you've learned and store it long term, as well as the ability to call on those stored memories when you need them. Choline deficiency has a strong association with dementia and Alzheimer's disease. I should also mention that choline is used structurally in phospholipids, which make up cell membranes, including those of neurons found in the brain. While choline deficiency is typically on the rarer side, it's hard to deny that it's one of the most brain-oriented nutrients, so you're going to want to make sure you're getting enough of it. Choline is rich in most meats, especially beef, most organ meats, especially liver and kidney, and many fish, specifically salmon. For plant-based sources, look to soybeans and cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts, though I will say the best source balancing quantity and accessibility is undoubtedly eggs. Basically, just eat the nutrient-dense foods you should already be eating, and your memory will be capable of remembering to thank you later. Number 2, docosahexaenoic acid. DHA is the pinnacle of the essential omega-3 fatty acids. While the other 2 main types, alpha-linolenic acid and icosapentaenoic acid, can be converted into it, the conversion rates are poor, so DHA kind of stands alone. It is used structurally in brain cell membranes as a major component of specific phospholipids more unique to the brain. DHA in particular is needed due to its own unique structure, which allows for the flexibility and fluidity that neural membranes need for efficient signaling. DHA is also neuroprotective in the brain, preventing oxidative damage that could contribute to cognitive decline or neurodegenerative diseases. Low DHA can negatively impact mood and mental health, as deficiency in it has been associated with a higher risk of depression and other mood-related disorders. Also related to the brain, DHA is crucial during pregnancy, as much of it accumulates in the child's brain to ensure its proper development, specifically distinction of different types of neurons and the formation of myelin. For the best sources of DHA, look to the sea, especially fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and anchovies, and shellfish like oysters and mussels. Or you could take it even a step further and get it straight from the source, that being algae like nori, kelp, wakame, and chlorella. Some say that life comes from the sea, and I would say that our intellectual and mental well-being certainly do. Number 3, vitamin B12. Also known as cobalamin, this is the vitamin that I would say is the most tied to the brain. Its main role is in the production of myelin. Myelin is an insulating sheath that forms around nerves, including those in the brain, that allows for more efficient transmission of electrical signals. Myelin is mainly made of lipids as well as some protein, and vitamin B12 is a key cofactor in metabolizing, synthesizing, and stabilizing the fats used for myelin. A vitamin B12 deficiency can seriously seriously disrupt this, leading to abnormal fatty acids, resulting in dysfunctional myelin and thus far less efficient signals. But that's not all. Vitamin B12 is also a cofactor in the synthesis of neurotransmitters, specifically dopamine, serotonin, and the aforementioned acetylcholine. B12 is needed to convert the amino acid tryptophan into serotonin, which is most known to manage mood and sleep, and another amino acid tyrosine into dopamine, which is used for all of mood, memory, motivation, and attention. Vitamin B12 can be found in abundance in most animal-based foods: meat, poultry, organs, eggs, dairy, seafood, all of it. Though some of the best specifically are liver, red meat, and shellfish. One of the most compelling reasons to include some sort of meat in your diet is that your brain literally craves it. Number 4, water. Obviously, water is important for all organs, but the brain is one of the most water-dense organs in the entire body. It's estimated that 75 to 85% of the roughly 3-pound brain is comprised of water. On a basic level, water is constantly needed to make everything in and for the brain: neurons, hormones, neurotransmitters, cerebrospinal fluid, and of course the blood that gets the nutrients to the brain. Its presence is necessary for the most fundamental functioning of neurons, their communication with each other via electrical and chemical signals. These signals include the movement of sodium and potassium ions across the neuron's membranes, and their ability to move is dependent on a watery and balanced environment. But beyond those foundational roles, water is also needed to maintain the brain's adaptability, both structurally and functionally, carry oxygen and nutrients to the brain, providing energy, and remove waste products from the brain, ensuring efficiency and preventing decline. And if I'm being honest, I don't think I should really need to explain more than that. All of your body depends on water, just your brain even more so than most organs. Even as little as a 2% drop in water in the brain can have consequences, hindering all cognitive functions: emotion, memory, movement, sensory input, thinking in general, and the more dehydrated it is, the worse it can get. Brain cells can physically shrink or just straight up die. And number 5, magnesium. Lots of minerals are important for a healthy brain, but I've chosen magnesium because its job is more unique. Magnesium acts as a gatekeeper for nerves. It moderates the strength of signals, blocking weak ones from unnecessarily activating nerve cells, thus preventing them from overstimulating and preserving them over time. So magnesium effectively protects against oxidative stress, inflammation, and chronic diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's in its own unique way. It's worth mentioning that magnesium manages all electrical and neurotransmitter activity, including those that regulate the hormone cortisol, so a deficiency could contribute to higher levels of stress and anxiety. Magnesium is often seen as the most important nutrient for managing such mental issues. Some of the best food sources of magnesium are seafood, specifically shellfish and smaller fatty fish, seeds like flax and sesame, and nuts like almonds and cashews, dark chocolate, and some grains like amaranth, buckwheat, and oats. One of the more elusive minerals to be sure, but also one of the more essential if you're a fan of not losing your mind. Now, those 5 either mainly participate in brain function or they're nutrients that you might need to go out of your way to get. But like I said, pretty much everything ties into the upkeep of the brain somehow. Vitamin B6 pyridoxine has a key role in the production of neurotransmitters, including dopamine, serotonin, and GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid, an inhibitor neurotransmitter designed to calm the brain. Folate, vitamin B9, is needed for the synthesis of dopamine, serotonin, epinephrine, and myelin. Obviously, protein is essential because, as I mentioned earlier, amino acids are the building blocks of brain cells and those neurotransmitters. Specifically, serotonin is made of tryptophan, dopamine and epinephrine are tyrosine, and GABA is glutamate. Sodium and potassium I touched on earlier. They're ions that move when nerves send electrical signals, and they're also what maintains the fluid balance. So these two are very important for maintaining proper neuron communication. In cooperation, calcium responds and signals the release of neurotransmitters to the next nerve cell. Zinc is used in the formation of synapses and also acts as a neurotransmitter activator and inhibitor. Iron, copper, and manganese help to supply the brain with nutrients and are cofactors for neurotransmitter synthesis. Fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria that create short-chain fatty acids that improve brain health. Vitamin C, vitamin E, and many other antioxidants are important to protect brain cells from damage, and even nutrients like creatine go a long way in protecting against damage damage and improving short-term memory. To summarize, pretty much every nutrient and component is in some way involved with the health and function of the brain, whether it be by formation, efficacy, or protection. The brain is responsible for the proper operation of everything else in the body. So when those other systems suffer, they refer back to the brain, and when the brain suffers, so does everything else. Make sure that you are providing yours with the proper ingredients so that way it can look out for the rest of you in return. Now, if you enjoyed this video, or at the very least learned a little something, I encourage you to subscribe as I have plenty more other videos on the way. I also encourage you to share this with someone who you think might find it useful or interesting. And remember that all I ask is that you do your own research and advocate for your body. You only get the one.